In this month's manga chapter of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, Boruto gets a brand new roommate, and he is not happy about it. The oh-so-awesome and oh-so-mysterious Kara arc continues in another chapter of the Boruto manga series. This was a really fun chapter, which thankfully was actually filled with a lot of Naruto. I know that seems kind of like a weird thing to ask for, considering that he's technically still the main character of the entire franchise, and the entire first half was wholly dedicated to him, but we haven't seen much of him as an adult, and finally getting to see him demonstrate why he's just so freaking badass in this chapter just truly made me happy. This entire chapter right here is all about the fact that Konoha Village is now in possession of Kawaki, and they're trying to assess what they're going to do with him. Naruto decides that he's actually going to allow Kawaki to live with him at his house, not only to calm him right the hell down, but to also try and get some information about Kara and who Kawaki truly is in the first place. We get to learn that inside of his body are these cells, which allows him to both harden and soften his skin, which is what allows him to transform his body into weapons. That alone is pretty unique, but the beginning of the chapter also goes a little bit more into his relationship with Kara, including Jigen, their leader. I'm not even really sure what to make of this scene, as it appears that the technology used by Kara is light years ahead of some of the things that we've actually seen in the series, as they seem to be expert cloners. Now, we've seen clones in the series, we know that that's something that Orochimaru is capable of, but the way that it's actually portrayed here is honestly kind of horrifying, with these children being in these liquid bags which are suspended over this massive pit. And I'm not even sure what their plan is for these children, if they're actually assimilating them into one and combining their abilities into Kawaki, if they're simply just replacements or just soldiers that they're actually going to use. It's hard to say here, but this entire scene is really creepy, as it basically shows Jigen trying to basically seduce Kawaki to the dark side of the Force to bring him into their group for some unknown reason. The rest of the chapter, however, mostly focuses on Kawaki reluctantly wanting to hang out with Naruto and live with him at his house, desperately trying to escape from him multiple times, running away from him in the village, only to immediately be confronted by frickin' Naruto Looney Tunes style when he appears right in front of him. It's firmly established in this episode 2 that Naruto can just immediately turn on that badassery like a switch. There are multiple times when Kawaki actually sees Naruto transform in this episode, and even he has to recognize this guy's pretty freaking powerful. He might even be more powerful than Jigen. As a longtime fan of the series, I can also say I never get sick of seeing Naruto go through that transformation, especially the way that he looks as an adult. It's still, to me, honestly, one of the coolest, anime manga transformations I've ever seen. We even get a meeting between the Kage, who are trying to assess what the deal is with Kawaki in the first place. That's the scene where they actually sort of talk about his powers a little bit, especially what's going on with Kara, and a lot of them are in agreement that it's okay that he stays with Naruto, considering that he is a Jinchuriki. He knows what it means for things to be detained. He knows how to handle these situations, so he'll be perfect for it, and not to mention, there's no safer place than actually hanging out with Naruto, considering how incredibly freaking powerful he is. But it's when they decide to bring Kawaki to Naruto's house is where things truly start to get interesting, as you're just sort of waiting for that moment where Boruto's gonna walk through the door and starts throwing a huge shit fit. But Kawaki does not seem to want to, comply with any of these people. He does not want to be here at all. He simply just wants to be free. He doesn't want to be with Kara. He doesn't want to be with Konoha. He just wants his very own freedom. And that, combined with his rebellious teenage attitude, makes him kind of a little punkish asshole. Even going to the point of destroying a vase in their home, which was something that Himawari made for Hinata. What a dick. But then Boruto comes home, immediately starts flipping out on this guy, and you can already feel the tension between these two characters. It's pretty evident that they're going to be living together, and in many ways, Kawaki could very well just be the stepbrother of Boruto at this point. It's an interesting dynamic for the show, and I have a feeling it's going to cause all sorts of tension between both Naruto, Boruto, and even Kawaki. I can see Boruto getting really upset over the fact that his father is spending time with this other kid and putting a lot of his energy into him. There's going to be some intense stuff going on in this arc, and this is simply just the beginning. So what's the rundown on this chapter of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? A slow but very good chapter, which is finally starting to build upon who Kawaki is and what his entire deal is in the first place, yet he's still incredibly mysterious. He's a vessel. A vessel for what? He has the powers to transform his skin into weapons. Technically, we've already kind of seen that a little bit in the series before with characters like the Cursed Seal monsters and even Jugo, who can do a lot of similar things, which leads me to believe that maybe there is some sort of connection between these two things, but it's probably something different. They're really doing a great job of not letting us know what's truly going on with the Kara organization, as their leader Jigen just barely ever displays any sort of personality and makes sure not to reveal anything. It immediately makes them interesting, though, I honestly have to say. I cannot wait to see what the entire deal with Kara is going to be, but it's pretty evident that this is still very early on for what they have planned for these characters, and it's really all just sort of a slow build-up to that moment where eventually Boruto and Kawaki end up fighting with one another. Why is that going to happen, though? It's still an utter mystery, and I'm sure it's going to be a long time before we even get to that. But Kawaki living with Boruto is going to be an interesting dynamic. He's officially going to be a main part of the cast at this point, and it's really going to change the entire dynamic of the entire series, really. I mean, before it was just Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki, and now we have this fourth wheel here, which is very strange. I can't wait to see how it's all going to go out. But yeah, the things I loved about this chapter had to be Naruto and his just badassery, the fact that he's still such a solid ninja, being able to teleport all over the place, being incredibly fast, and that scene where he just transforms in front of Kawaki in this chapter was just all so freaking awesome. Kawaki himself is an interesting character, too. We've seen people like him in the Naruto franchise, but it's pretty clear that he's never really had a normal family life, being abandoned by his original father, being used by Kara to be transformed into some sort of weird living weapon. He has no grounds to actually trust anyone, so everything that he's actually doing is very understandable. So it's going to be a long time before he starts to mellow out, but there is going to be that moment where eventually he does snap and things go really crazy again. It's all just building up to that powder keg moment. What I will say is this is a pretty informative chapter with some really great imagery in it, which was very creepy at the beginning, especially with the whole children in bags being floated above and experimented on by Kara. That and just the great moments with Naruto and Kawaki in this chapter, and all of the cameos from all of the Kage returning, and even some of their bodyguards that we haven't seen in a while. This was a solid addition to the Boruto series and the beginning of a really epic arc. Make sure to check this one out, Boruto and Naruto fans. I think this is going to be the beginning of one of the greatest arcs from this series, and it's something that I did not expect to see. So I'm giving this chapter a 5 out of 5. It was wholly entertaining the entire time, despite the fact that most of it was basically just watching Naruto and Kawaki walk around the village. But it was still entertaining stuff, had some great dialogue, and we got to learn a little bit more about Kawaki and Kara. So good stuff right there. 5 out of 5 from me. I'd love to hear from you guys, though. Did any of you guys read this chapter of Boruto? Tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Your favorite moments. Do you have any theories about Kawaki and his connection to Kara, what they're doing with those children? And tell me what you guys hope to see from the rest of the Boruto manga series. Thank you guys for watching this review. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay down now, baby.